Am I the a-hole for being upset that I'm not involved in my brother's wedding, which I'm paying for? I, female 31, have a brother, male 29, and he's getting married next year. We lost our mom in 2012 and our dad in 2016, and we are each other's only living relatives. I have a good job. I earn a lot of money, £150,000 per year. My brother also has a good job, but doesn't earn anywhere near as much, £35,000. We were raised to always look after each other and share. My partner and I are child-free. Over the years, I have paid my brother's master's degree, paid a down payment on his house. Our parents rented, so there was no family home. I will also be paying for my future sister-in-law, female 26, and my brother to have future rounds of IVF. Sister-in-law works part-time and earns about $50,000 a year. Her parents are not well off. My brother asked if I could contribute to the cost of the wedding. I said I'd pay for it, asked a small with 100 guests, and set up a wedding account for them into which I put £25,000, which they both have access to. Sister-in-law's entire family are involved as bridesmaids and groomsmen, while my husband and I are just guests. Brother and sister-in-law have been going around venues with their family, and I get emailed the costing if it's selected. I told my brother I don't mind paying for the wedding, but I feel really weird that everyone else is involved in the decision and I'm just involved with paying. Brother has said that I'm not our parents. I can't replace our parents, and that's why I'm not involved. Why can't I just do something nice without making him feel crap? I feel like an a-hole for causing drama, but also feel taken advantage of. Am I the a-hole? Now for the top comments. Not the a-hole. You are not his parents, but let's face it. You have certainly financially supported him like one in so many different ways. And it doesn't sound like you were trying to control things. Just want to be included the same as sister-in-law's family has been. Now that he is going to be a great big married adult, I think it is time you cut off your support and let him be the independent person he is. This. You are not the a-hole. He wants to cut you out of even being involved? Then he doesn't need your money. He has it right. You're not his parent, so stop acting like it. He's an adult. He can worry about his own finances. I don't think you should even pay for the wedding. If he is behaving like this now, he'll just cut you off and contact again when he needs help. So not worth of your efforts and money. Not the a-hole obviously, but he's a major one. Having made a commitment to pay for the wedding, backing out would be an a-hole move. Especially as there was no discussion of what involvement Opie would have. To impose retrospective conditions is not fair. However, going forward, Opie's sibling is not entitled to anything. I hope Opie hasn't actually promised them anything concrete about the IVF. Not the a-hole. You are paying for entirely too much. If they can't afford a wedding on their own, then they can't afford kids. You need to stop being the gravy train. But they also need to reduce the cost of the wedding. £25,000? Not the a-hole. You're being taken advantage of. What kind of a relationship do you have? Because this looks like it only comes down to money when talking about your brother. Edit. After reading your replies, the sisters are bridesmaids. The brothers of the bride are groomsmen. You didn't even get an invite to the engagement party? You have paid for so much stuff aside from their wedding. Also pretend to pay for IVF. Let me tell you, if they don't have enough money for IVF, they probably don't have enough to maintain a child. I advise you to please stop paying for their stuff. It's too much. They probably will ask Opie for support on a regular basis. Next story. Am I the a-hole for not inviting my sister-in-law to my wedding? Backstory. My 26 male older brother Jack, 32 male, was once the golden child of the family. Then when he started dating Jill, 32 female, our mother became weirdly jealous. She would constantly run Jill down behind her back and would always make snarky remarks to her face. To her credit, Jill never retaliated and always remained friendly. When Jack and Jill got married, my mother's behavior towards her worsened, to the point she ruined their wedding day. When Jack announced that they were having a baby, Mom suddenly wanted to be Jill's best friend. This changed again soon as Jill gave birth to my niece. I won't go into detail, but her behavior resulted in Jack and Jill going no contact with her. It has been 3 years since all of this occurred. I still speak to all of them and see my mother regularly. I recently got engaged to my partner Laura, 24 female, and we have been planning our wedding. I've asked Jack to be my best man, and he agreed. Since we will be busy most of the day, his interactions with mom will be pretty limited. I was feeling confident that our day would be drama-free until Laura came home from wedding dress shopping looking stressed out. When I asked her what was wrong, and she told me that my mom, who was invited along with her mother and our bridesmaids, made a comment about how she was looking forward to putting Jill in her place at the wedding. Apparently, she then ran Jill down to anyone that would listen and made everyone feel uncomfortable. Understandably, we both became worried that mom's feud with Jill would ruin our wedding day. So we came to the decision to invite Jill in order to avoid this. When I spoke to Jack about our decision, he got upset and kept repeating that this was his wife, the mother of his child and my sister-in-law that we were excluding for something that wasn't her fault. I repeatedly told him that I think Jill is great and that I don't think she has done anything wrong, but I don't want drama in my wedding day or for her to be put into an uncomfortable situation with our mother. Jack ended up telling me that if mom can't even last a day without starting drama, then maybe I should be reassessing who needs to be uninvited, and that if his wife couldn't attend, he wouldn't either. I feel like I am stuck behind a rock at a hard place here. I know Jill hasn't done anything wrong, and have never been able to understand why mom is so rude to her when she has always been nice to Laura. I know that my mom is the one in the wrong with all of this, but she is my mother and want her at my wedding. Just to add, Jill texted me after my conversation with Jack and told me that she understands and not to worry. She would talk to Jack once it calmed down. You're the a-hole. You're punishing the victim and enabling an abuser. Couldn't have said it better myself. You're the a-hole. I mean, it really is that simple. I know it's their wedding and all that, but the my wedding, my rules excuse goes away when it means enabling mistreatment/bullying. There's no other factor weighing in his decision. It's a choice between having his mom and the best man's wife, his sister-in-law, who she bullied at his wedding. Jill isn't the one starting drama. Why would she be punished for it? If anything, uninvite the bully. Opie's choice will communicate to his mom that alienating and bullying Jill with her mean girl tricks is okay and leads to no consequences. Like, take a hard look at the situation. Even the event that leads Opie and his bride to uninvite Jill was caused by his mother, making everyone uncomfortable. She's so nice to Laura. What makes Opie think she won't set her sights on his wife one day? And if she does, what will Opie do? Stand there with his enabling ways while mommy dearest bullies Laura? You're the a-hole. Your mother is the root cause of these problems, not Jill. Either confront her like an adult and ask her to act like a mature person, or uninvite her to the wedding. Uninviting Jill absolutely makes you the a-hole. Better yet, uninvite your mom from your life. She sounds like a toxic textbook abuser. Yep, definitely. Jill should be invited because she is your brother's wife and she has done nothing wrong. And this is a good hill for Jack to die on. Your mother is the one that should be uninvited. She's definitely an a-hole. You're the a-hole. Jack is right. You're punishing the victim of bullying and mistreatment and rewarding your mom's terrible behavior. Thank goodness Jill has a husband to stand up for her. Laura obviously does not. Laura better sees this as a red flag in her relationship. Opie's now the golden child and married to his mom. You're the a-hole. While gown shopping for your future bride's dress, your mother announces how she cannot wait to make your wedding all about her issues with your sister-in-law. And your response is to ban your sister-in-law and not your mother? What the heck is wrong with you? She's already taken that joyful, happy occasion and made it about herself. I mean, I'm guessing you have said absolutely nothing to your mom just how out of line that was. Throughout looking to buy the dress, she says, I do in. And your mom decides it's about her and make herself the focus. Dude, you've got to stand up for yourself and your future bride. This isn't your mom's opportunity to shame someone. This is for you and your future bride to share with the people who love and support you. Get your head out of your bottom. Apologize to your brother, your sister-in-law, and especially your bride. Then tell your mother she's no longer invited. Tell her you have hired a couple off-duty police officers to make sure she's unable to gain entry. Next story is titled, Am I the a-hole for telling my wife to shut the heck up because of the remarks she made towards my 16-year-old sister? My male 28 sister, female 16, was diagnosed with cancer in 2021, and treatment has been hard on her. She's the shy type and can be incredibly insecure and lack confidence about her looks. Any remark, no matter how small, would get to her and affect her right away. It's a while since I've seen her, and the other day I was FaceTiming her and my parents to check on her. My wife joined us and sat next to me without taking her eyes off my sister. Note that my wife is a makeup artist and tends to make plenty of assumptions about other women's faces, which isn't a cool thing. But anyway, my wife started talking to my sister about whether or not she started caring for her skin. And my sister said she recently started a clean and clear lotion to improve her look. But my wife chuckled and said that clearly this product isn't working because she, my sister, still looked like a cancer patient even though she's recovered. I was stunned, and so were my parents. My sister immediately got up and left the room. I looked at my wife and told her what she said was messed up, and that she should shut the hell up with her nonsense remarks because she just insulted and hurt my sister. She started backpedaling, saying she was just giving her opinion, and a fight started. My parents hung up, and my wife flipped out, saying I humiliated her by telling her to SDHU in front of my parents, and claimed I had no respect for her to speak to her like that. I told her what she said made my sister cry, knowing that she's been through hell and can be very insecure about her self-image. But my wife argued that she's being too sensitive, and she was again just giving her opinion and giving her advice in terms of skincare. I stormed off, leaving her yelling about what an a-hole I was to speak to her this way, and ruined the respect my parents had for her. Am I the a-hole? Now for the top comments. Not the a-hole. Bullying your little sister who suffered through freaking cancer for her looks is divorce material. Was she a high school mean girl or something? Did you find her on a set of a teenage drama movie? The audacity to speak like this to your sister. I cannot stay with that person. Do you plan on having children? Isn't makeup about empowerment? Sorry, but this got my blood boiling. I'm ready to call you an a-hole if you do not seriously think that relationship. This. Not an a-hole to OP for standing up for your little sister, but you could be one if you're not considering divorce. Unacceptable behavior, and no apology or feelings of remorse. Agreed. This is divorce-worthy behavior. She's a makeup artist. If she wanted, she could have helped OP's sister with her looks tremendously. But instead of doing right by her sister-in-law, who's previously struggling, she chose to drag her down. It's not just an opinion. If nobody asks for her opinion, said opinion will just be a potentially hurtful remark no one asked for. She knows exactly what she was doing, but flipped out when OP rightfully called her out on it. Note my wife is a makeup artist and tends to make plenty of assumptions about other women's faces, which isn't a cool thing. I'm so glad you noticed that about her, but have you ever confronted her on that? I kept reading, and Jesus Christ on a stick. I would have shut the laptop straight away while your wife was still talking. Giving her opinion? Guess what, lady? Not everything that falls from your mouth is straight gold or wanted. Oh my god, I wouldn't know how to be with a person like this. So toxic and oblivious to their own terrible behavior. Not an a-hole. Edit. Came back after I recovered a little. Your wife is a terrible, terrible and small person. She told your baby sister, of 16 years old, a teenager who at that age struggles enough with self-confidence issues, and a cancer survivor on top of that she looks terrible. And after that tries to die on the hill that you ruined and respect of your parents for her? I've spent 2 years working on myself and thought I hung up the pitchforks because I tried to act more mature and composed on the internet. But I'm getting twitchy in my fingers for that pitchfork. Now for the last story. Am I the a-hole for refusing to invite my estranged mother-in-law to my daughter's birthday? When I was dating my now husband, his mom didn't seem to like me and we had a couple issues, which I'd say had to do with her not handling change well, or us just being very different people and struggling to understand each other. But the relationship wasn't awful. When we got engaged, she rolled her eyes and made snarky comments, but she did offer to pay. She had quite a bit of money, so we didn't think anything of it, and accepted. She was kind of rude during wedding planning, but I didn't think much of it. Then she walked out of wedding dress shopping, pulled all her money out of the wedding, and stopped speaking to us. To be clear, nothing happened. She just stood up and walked out. The only minor explanation I got was from her sister, who said she just feels like it is never about her, and she is sick of paying for other people to have things. I didn't get it at all. It wasn't about her, and she didn't have to pay. She offered. My husband tried to contact her, but she was adamant that she wanted no contact. He let go, and we didn't see her for 10 years. Then ran into her somewhere and they reconnected. She's married now. He has 2 sisters he's never met, and we have 3 kids she's never met. My husband wanted a relationship with her, and mother-in-law was open to it. He met with her a couple times, and she never gave any explanation for ghosting us beyond a relationship wasn't working for her, and she was sick of doing things for other people. But besides paying, which she offered, she never did anything for anyone. I have no respect for her, but I'm fine with my husband wanting a relationship. I had dinner with her and her husband once, and she showed absolutely zero remorse. The issue is my husband invited her to our daughter's birthday without consulting me. He admits he got carried away and never should have done that, but would like her to come and bring her 2 kids. I am not comfortable at all with this. I don't want her to meet my kids. I don't think a birthday party is the appropriate place. If she had shown some remorse, I would feel differently. Not stay home. A child birthday is definitely not an appropriate time for the children to meet their relatives. Your husband needs to cancel the invite immediately. Not stay home. People who are sideline observers don't get tickets to the main event. Not stay home. After everything she has done, he let her return into your lives as nothing? No way. I will put a stop there. Your mother-in-law's the a-hole, but your husband is too. These things must be talked between both parts, because marriage means that you're a team. And being 10 years without contact, I don't know. It seems to me that he was in contact with her. I don't find any reason why after 10 years they decided to reconnect just because they ran into one another. Not stay whole. Protect your child from a toxic person. I don't believe they were in contact. I know he tried to contact her a few times and she asked to be left alone. He seemed genuinely shocked when he saw her with her 2 new kids. They just ran into each other and he took the opportunity, and mother-in-law was open to it. But to be honest, doesn't seem very affected by any of this. Info. Can you shed any light on why she would reject her child like that? A man who did nothing wrong. It's unfathomable to me. I think she was tired of paying for other people's weddings. She had been paying her parents' bills since she was like 12 or 13. She had paid for 2 weddings before this and never got one of her own. She was lonely and wanted a man, but worked all the time and had no social skills from getting homeschooled. She was homeschooled. She was working. Seeing me, who she never liked happy, set her off. She probably had him too young and felt trapped, but I seemed to be the catalyst that she wouldn't take it anymore.
How do I, 36 male, make my wife, 38 female, tell me who is sending food to her at her workplace on a daily basis? Original post. Details? This is a first, since in 10 years together there hasn't been a single jealousy-induced fight, since neither of us are of the jealous type. I was cheated pretty bad by another person. She knows this and knows I'm insecure about it. So we both are pretty open about our friends and families to avoid misunderstandings between us. Until she started to get all secretive with this specific matter. She stopped eating the food I cook for her because someone pays for her food now. The catch? There aren't any coworkers in her office. She does consultation at her own little one-person place, and everything else is managed off-site by the company she's working for. Now, why am I making a big deal out of it? It was not a big deal, till it was. I was super happy for her because maybe some client were so satisfied with the service that they sent her food in gratitude. It was a bi-monthly occurrence at best, and she used to tell me, "Hey, this client sent me some Starbucks. Nice." Or, "Wow, other client's mother made me a sandwich and some Jell-O." But then it became bi-weekly, and then she stopped knowing who sent her the now expensive food. And nowadays it's daily. She always returns my food to me when she gets home, gone all bad because she didn't eat any. I don't make a big deal, but I stopped making jokes about it like, "Hey, tell them to send some for me too," or things like that. because it started to annoy me that she doesn't eat my food and let it go bad. I'm a pretty good cook and I hate wasting food. And it got weird when she started to show off that the food someone sent to her is better, meaning costly and restaurant made. It started as an annoyance about wasting food, but what triggered my insecurity about this is that one day after she sent me the usual picture, I told her, "Surprise, I went ahead and sent you that from my place." And she replied all annoyed, "Haha, funny. I know it wasn't you." Wink. Ask her, "Who is it then?" Her answer, I don't know." So she doesn't believe it was me, but doesn't know who it was. The second catch? They always send her things pretty specific to her likings. I may be paranoid, but most items she gets are things that she has to tell someone she likes, since it is not generic expensive food, but menu items catered to her palate, or drinks prepared exactly how she likes them. She could be ordering herself, but she denies it, like it would kill her to tell me. She knows I don't mind. I just don't want wasting food. If she's ordering food for herself, why doesn't she tell me? I told her it wouldn't be a problem since that way I can save food at home and won't wake up as early, but she still denies and still doesn't know who it is. It's the first time I get this type of treatment from her. Why be so secretive about some food? She knows it gets worse if you hide this type of deals instead of being just open about it. Like, it's some weird client obsessed with sending me food, or it's my mom/brother/friend/the company. She could have lied like that, and it would be enough to stop me from asking her every time, "Nice, but who is sending you this?" And instead, decided being all mysterious and mischievous about it. Now for the top advice before reading the update. Nobody is sending food, especially expensive food, to their friend every single day. Whoever is doing it is romantically interested in her. And she fully knows who it is. Don't be naive. She won't tell you who, because she either likes the food, likes the attention, or both. Hopefully there's nothing more going on than some free food. Right? I tried to not obsess over it, but she started getting super secretive knowing that's an obvious trigger for me, and overall people who has been cheated. Instead of just telling the truth or even lying. I would have instantly believed anything she told me if that was the case, and despite knowing that, she still decides to be secretive. Damn, I'll even be fine if she outright tells me, "Look, it's some guy/gal that seems to have feelings for me. Don't worry, I'm just in for the food." And she fully knows I won't have any problem with it. That's how much I trust her. What I don't like are the little secret tee-hee like that, because I get paranoid about it. You need to sit down with her and tell her that this secretive thing isn't funny anymore, and it's making you really skeptical and making you feel unsafe in your own relationship. If her response is to call you insecure and not explain herself, then the answer is right in your face. "Yeah, I'll do this later when she gets home." If she says, "Okay, it's me," meaning she's buying for herself, have her show you the receipts. Otherwise, she's gaslighting you to get you off her back. And if that's the case, you may have bigger problems on your hands. Had she tell me that at the very start of this issue, I wouldn't snoop more. But at this point, you are right. If she tells me that now, I'll be asking for receipts. Mini update. She's about to come home in an hour or so I'll try to talk to her seriously one last time before getting matters onto my own hands. I don't like snooping, but most of you recommend I will have to if I want some real answers, even if it means hiring a PI or following people around. I'll update whenever I can after the allowed time. Now for the first update. So, this isn't worth its own post. It went begrudgingly faster than I anticipated. I'm with a friend right now. Ask him for some space so I could write a little, or a ton, and tomorrow I'll be at my parents'. Believe it or not, I'm not angry or destroyed or any of that. I'm just sad and tired and want to puke, and want to write something to vent. You're also not gonna believe this. To the person who told me this is almost like a sitcom, WTF, this is freaking a sitcom? You were right, and you'll see why soon. I told and asked her some of the things some of you told me I could say to her before starting my own investigation. I'm a calm person, so usually, doesn't matter the topic, a talk about it never comes as rude. This is important because I don't want you to think that I screamed at her or something like that. I don't want you to picture me as a saint, but I'm as non-violent as a person can be. Her reaction was as bizarre as this whole crap. Long story short, or a short story long, I asked her why she is accepting food from strangers, and she started verbally abusing me. Don't worry if you don't believe me. It came out of nowhere. It's like she exploded out of freaking nowhere. As I wrote in another comment, yeah, we fight like any couple, but she never abused me or insulted me or my family. Again, this was a first. I guess I was not pressing enough for asking the right questions, because I never got this reaction from her before. One of the things she screamed at me was something like, "Why the heck are you pestering me? I bet you never knew a freaking surprise in your whole childhood." No, scratch that. I know you never had a freaking surprise in your whole childhood. So now whenever I get a gift, you get all jealous. Is that it, right? Then she started iterating how my parents were awful at raising me and everything. I told her that wasn't provoked, and that I just wanted her to be careful when eating outside, even more so if she didn't know where the food comes from. I'll repeat myself as many times as necessary. We never fought like this. In 10 years, she never screamed at me or insulted me like this. I told her to please not insult me or my parents because I'm just trying to talk. She screamed, "Then what the hell do you want from me?" And guys, I told her the stupidest thing ever, to please eat my food, or tell me whenever you are gonna eat outside so I won't cook. Her answer? Then don't freaking cook for F's sake. I asked her to please stop screaming at me, and told her that it wasn't like that. I was concerned that she was receiving food without knowing the source, and I didn't like wasting food. At this point, I was still acting as if everything was about her not eating my food. The whole interchange lasted less than 15 minutes, but it was enough to trigger her like I've never seen before in 10 years. Follow-up update a few hours later. So, she was seeing an ex from years ago. This chick started to send her not only food, but gifts, because suddenly she wanted to reignite stuff or whatever. But no, it wasn't sudden at all. They started just talking like 8 years ago, and the gifts started a couple years ago too. Wife got bi-curious because she, and I quote, wanted to taste the touch of a woman again. So they slept together multiple times since years ago. Please don't misunderstand me. This isn't a post about that. I'm not hating anyone for their preferences. But you don't do that when you are married. Or better yet, you talk to your partner. Hey, I'm curious about this or that. Can we do anything about it if it's good with you? Something like that. Communication. Told her so. But I pressed for her to come full clean. Mind you, this is after 2+ hours discussing these issues. And you are also not going to believe this. After some more talking, she told me, "You want clean? I'll give you clean." Sleeping with her ex triggered a craving for different people. She slept with a male coworker of hers in a past job like 5 years ago. Slept with another male ex of hers. Slept with a chick from a club. Slept with a chick from that same job. And slept with her latest ex. All while we were already married. I asked why. Her answer? She wanted to feel wanted by everyone. Was I not enough? Hard no. Maybe if I could change the shape of my penis on command, but that wouldn't even be enough. Because she wanted to try different bodies and things like that. Why marry me? I'm a good person and she wanted someone as stable as me. Why do that to a good person then? It's only sex, but it's important for me. She says, "Grow up. I have needs. I know it's a big deal for you, that's why I never tell you." Tell me, as in present time. Yes, she was still in contact with most of her F buddies, but more so her exes. Why not try everything she wanted, then date me, then marry me? She told me the stupidest thing. She was calling dibs on me. Guys, I didn't have any other lovers or anything. She was competing for me versus no one. I could have waited for her 1, 5, or 10 years. Told her, "I'm gone then." Her answer, "Have fun." What did I do to you to be treated like this? Nothing, but I'm seriously tired of pretending, having to hide, lie, and you pestering me about this stuff was the last straw. She told me that if I never started to get weird about food, I wouldn't ever know, and we could still be happy. Told her it isn't my fault. She responded, "I know, but you ruined your own status quo." As in, I'm happy like this. You ruined it for you by pestering me. Last question. Then why act all mysterious with the food? If she had just told me, "Oh, it's from the company or a friend," everything would have stayed the same. Answer? Freaking grow up, please. What the heck happened to my wife? I was never treated like this. I now know that my trust for her was so big I was blind to a bunch of signs. What signs? I still don't freaking know. But she said all that as if it was all under my nose. Why she exploded after 10 years? And why just after I started bettering myself for her? Why not before? Or later for that matter? Dude married a psychopath. Bummer. I say the mask slipped, and she went all out in showing him who she is. I think she was baiting him because she actually wanted the relationship to end, but didn't want to be the one to outright break up. Texting him everything and trying to make him jealous is definitely provoking him on her part. It's pure contempt. Her contempt for him overpowered any other emotion she had for him. Wait, if she requires multiple people, why not date a poly person? Or someone who's open to an open relationship? Why did she go for a monogamous person? Because she wanted him to be monogamous, of course. Last story. My wife said she does not owe me intimacy, plus update. And she is right. She does not owe me sex just because I am her husband, but I cannot take it anymore. Sexual incompatibility is hell. I have been busy drafting divorce documents with my lawyer this week. I believe it's best if we separate because we became incompatible after some time. 4 years of marriage, both in early 30s. Hormone test came up normal. I begged her for marriage counseling with sex therapy. I did everything she pointed out. She came with other excuses. Since the beginning of the relationship, we take turns handling laundry and dishes. For the other tasks, we have our own responsibilities for different rooms/tasks. It is not just the sexual department as well. She does not seem to be into having non-sexual intimacy either recently. Countless discussions and nothing in the end. It was not like that in the beginning, so I'm not sure what happened. Marriage counseling and sexual therapy did not work either. She seems happy in the relationship and daily life, but I am not. We had sex only 2 times since the beginning of this year. She mentioned we should try having kids at the beginning of this week, and I got annoyed. What am I? Something kept for only breeding? I will give her the divorce notice documents next Monday, and I am torn the relationship will end like that. I'll also leave the house as soon as possible. However, I am sure I'm doing both of us a favor in the long run. We should separate before having kids. Just wanted to vent and get opinion from a neutral point of view. Now for the top comments before reading the update. That's crazy she's considering having kids with you, and you were considering divorce. 2 people living together yet so far apart. Yeah, it's the most messed up thing in this. That's crazy to me, especially as they had therapy and nothing changed. Why would you want to have kids with a man you know is unhappy? Maybe she thinks he'll stick around with a kid, or that will placate him? A kid would just give her more reasons to not want to have sex though, or his wife has zero awareness of how unhappy OP is. Regardless, it's best if they split up. Having a low libido and being asked for sex often can cause resentment on both sides. Thank you for not bringing kids into this marriage. It is obvious the resentment would grow even more in the future. Having a child in that environment would be such a cruel thing to do. When you hand her the papers, do not, I repeat, do not sleep with her. One poster did that, and she ended up pregnant. He did one thing we all tell people not to do. He didn't want to leave after that. Sure enough, sex stopped right after the revelation. Stick to your guns if you're going to do this. Get ready for the hysterical bonding. It's coming. She's going to be all over you and promising change. Once she's comfortable that you're back, it will go back to the way it was, with most likely a child on the way. Now for the update. She got the notice papers this Monday and she was shocked. I explained her in detail and thoroughly why I came to that decision. I pointed out every previous discussion we had, how there were no efforts from her side, and we are simply incompatible in the end. There was crying and arguments again. I also told her I would be going back to my hometown to settle in my premarital house. It was my mom's, but after she passed away, we shared it 50-50 with my sister, though I gave my share to my sister later. We had to move to our current city due to my wife's job. A lot happened that day, but I will not give details as they were mostly personal. Next day, I started packing important things, and out of a sudden, my wife became the most sexual person on the planet. She came to me with lingeries, toys, costumes, and approached me. I am going to be honest, I had a very hard time resisting, but rejected her advances every time. She is the woman I love and desire after all, but I do not think staying in this marriage will be healthy for either of us. I am currently staying at a hotel with my important belongings. I changed my passwords and handled other shared things. My sister will come next week to get me, and I believe I'll be staying at her place in our hometown for a while. At least until beds and furniture are delivered to the house. Some Redditors pointed out that she may be cheating on me, but she did not give me reason to be suspicious of. I trust her fully. I just wish we were more compatible in the intimacy department. She is trying to reach out to me, but I reject her calls and do not read her texts. I may need few days of peace and silence to get myself ready for everything upcoming. Thank you for the advices and suggestions on the last thread. Take care. Well done for being strong when she confronted you with everything you had been wishing she would. That was a good choice. Giving in would have prolonged this cul-de-sac in both of your lives and caused lots of harm in the end. The hardest part of someone changing is knowing they could have been doing it the whole time, but they chose not to. They didn't care when it was hurting you, only when it hurts them. Yeah, this is what OP needs to remember more than anything. She was perfectly capable of turning on the sexual charm but chose not to until it affected her. I commented on your previous post where I told you she'd suddenly want to work on intimacy once she was served. I am happy you didn't succumb to her attempts. It is not genuine. It is a facade, and she will keep this up. Be strong and don't fall for it. It is just a surface-level attempt at giving you what you wanted all the time you were married. It's the panic at work. Once the foundation of a thing has broken, you can't just catch up on maintenance. And it's a lesson people discover time and time again. Even if they genuinely want to fix things, it's too late. Horses have bolted, buses left.
Update: my wife told me I'm replaceable. Original post: I, 30 male, have been married to my wife, 29 female, for 2 years, and we have known each other for 6. A few weeks ago, we had an argument, and during our disagreement, she told me that I am replaceable. After our argument, she went out with her friends. I have been dealing with some health problems for a while, and the argument stressed me out, leaving me nervous and unwell. I was alone in the house and decided to call the paramedics because I felt that something was really wrong. To sum up, I suffered a heart attack. In hospital, they tried to reach my wife, but she didn't respond, likely still upset from our argument. She called later after coming home when she found out that I'm not there. After learning of my condition, she came to see me and stayed with me the entire time, constantly crying and holding my hands. After being sent home, she did everything so I could recover faster. However, despite her efforts, I couldn't stop thinking about how she had told me that I'm replaceable. I constantly think about it. I want to confront her about it, but I don't think I'm ready. I'm trying to understand why context matters. In what way or situation is it acceptable to call your partner replaceable? The audacity to even say something like that is beyond me. Edit: I will answer some things here. We have no children. I have genetic health problems. External factors also contributed to my problems. I have higher salary than her, so I mostly pay the bills or buy things for our home. I mostly cook and clean. She does it too, but mostly me. It's not 50-50, more like 60-40. She isn't actively trying to end me. I hope so, at least. I don't know if she's cheating. Let's also address the elephant in the room. We had argument about our house, some issues with it. After that, we also discussed our priorities, careers, and intimacy. At one point, discussion was replaced by her venting and saying things not even related to original discussion. I had no issues with her ranting about things until she told me that I'm replaceable. That was the end of conversation. I no longer wanted to talk. She finds my silence terrifying, but she didn't stay in the house for long after argument. I don't know when she came home. I woke up in the hospital and she was there. She kept crying and holding my hands. She didn't speak much. She couldn't. Now for the top comments before reading the updates. You can forgive her for what she said, but you will never forget how she made you feel in the moment. This is why we don't name call or let our anger overwhelm our kindness. It is okay to be angry, but to be cruel is not acceptable. I'm going to piggyback on this comment because of this comment. You can forgive her for what she said, but you will never forget how she made you feel. Tuesday, June 23, 2015, I came home after working 15 hours. My wife was home and fairly intoxicated. She was super mad at me for some reason and started tearing into me. She then uttered a phrase, "I'll take your kids and make you pay."
That sentence changed the dynamic of our relationship forever. She has no idea, as I've never brought this up. You can forgive her, but you will never forget how you felt. Yeah, in the early 2000s, my marriage began to fall apart the moment we had a discussion, not even an argument, about finances and work. And she dismissed my being stressed out with, "Well, your job's not as important as mine, so I don't see why you're so stressed." I didn't get into it with her because at least on one level, she was right. Social work is more important than working for an insurance company. But her being so dismissive really made me open my eyes. I started to realize that I was essentially an accessory and a means to an end, and that my real value to her was an attempt to beat her younger sister to life milestones, like husband/house/baby. I started actually noticing every time she'd overrule my opinions or wants, started withdrawing, and eventually we began to resent each other and finally divorced. Thankfully without house or baby. I can't imagine what it would have been like trying to co-parent with her. My husband once said to me, "Wives are replaceable, mothers are not. Mom will always win." Within the year, our 9-year marriage collapsed. The context was finding out how deeply involved his mother was in our marriage, arguments, decisions, etc. We were not arguing, but having a discussion about how it wasn't right to basically have a third person in the marriage, that it was between the two of us. The way I found out was during a discussion about investments we had made. I got up from the table we were talking at and found his phone on a counter with Mom showing on screen. He'd called her and had her listen in to our discussion so he could take it to her after we were done. I disconnected the call without comment and she called back immediately. He vehemently disagreed that it wasn't right and made that statement to me, basically stating that it was he and his mom against me and I'd always lose, while she was still on the phone listening in. It was like a gut punch. It opened my eyes to a lot of little things that eventually led to filing for divorce. He was stunned. His mom called me immediately and said, "You can't do that." Well, yes, I can, and did. As a petty move, I served his mother the divorce papers at the same time, so she could be involved in the divorce. Lol. $50 well spent in my opinion. She came to our hearing and was so vocal about what she thought was right or wrong that the judge ordered her out of the courtroom. Lol. He's her full-time problem now. They've been living together since the separation, and she's miserable about it. They deserve each other. +1 for serving her divorce papers. Halfway reading this, I was wondering that exact thing, and you actually did it. You are awesome. Hope life is treating you well. Life is pretty sweet, but it did take a while to get there. Divorce is hard, no matter how much it needs to happen. I grew up in a Chinese household. My mother and brother are always together. When my ex-sister-in-law moved into our house, my mom wouldn't let her step into my brother's room. She even slept in my brother's bedroom some nights, saying she was afraid that my ex-sister-in-law would sneak into the room. She micromanaged every aspect of my brother's life, and I think he loved it, until my ex-sister-in-law couldn't stand it and left. Luckily, I'm a daughter, and she couldn't care less about me. But the thought of me having to marry into a family like mine is just terrifying. God forbid her married son sleep with his own wife. I'm glad she got out. Mini update. On a side note, some people in this comment section have some issues themselves. Like some of the comments are just wild, horrifying. I've decided to separate for a month. We will go to a counselor and speak maybe 1 to 2 times a week. If she cares about me, she will accept it and do everything she can to improve our relationship and marriage. If she starts playing around, going out on dates, or if I suspect her of cheating, I will end it. There won't be any forgiveness or second chances. I will make an update post sometime in the future. So many of you reached out and offered support and advice. I think the least I can do is provide you with the update. Thank you all very much. Now for the full update. As promised, here's an update in my situation. I won't go into much detail, just the most important things. Physically, I'm doing great. I've started working out again, although at a slower pace than before. With time, it will get better. Separation really helped me a lot. Firstly, I might sound selfish, but I only worried about myself, so I did everything for myself. At first, it was a different feeling. I felt alone for the first time in a really long time, and I needed a few days to get used to it. After I got used to it, it was actually quite nice. I got to do whatever I wanted, whenever I wanted. I bought myself a lot of things, redecorated a bit, changed some old things. And honestly, I liked it. There was no stress, no arguments, no problems. It was peaceful and quiet. I also got myself a cat, and the two of us got along really well. I spoke to my wife on a weekly basis. We also went to a counselor, which really changed a lot of things. Whenever we went there, I laid all cards on the table. I was really honest, maybe too honest, and I said a lot of things that had accumulated over time. Every annoyance, issue, pretty much everything I thought could be way better. My wife took the separation really hard. It was really bad. For the first few days, she was fine, or she pretended to be, but as time progressed, it was clear she wasn't doing well. What I did was whenever we went to a counselor, I focused only in trying to figure out my marriage and issues with it. But as soon as I left the counselor, I checked out. Like a switch. I didn't want to bring any of it home and disturb my peace. My wife also started individual therapy for her own mental health and issues that have been present for some time. I asked her if she cheated on me, and honestly, I expected some outburst of rage or yelling. But there wasn't any of it. She was really sweet and told me no, and that she understands why I might think that, and she offered her phone and her social media accounts for me to check. For some reason, I decided to be a prick, and I told her that maybe she deleted and covered her tracks. She has no proof of anything. Again, no yelling or anything, just a really sad look in her eyes. I realized that I went too far, and I apologized. Time passed, and I decided to let it go. So I told her that I forgive her and that I will give her another chance. Honestly, I wanted some form of revenge, but while revenge might be sweet, everything after it is bitter. I also told her that I won't forget her words. Anyway, she came back to my house and everything changed. No longer am I doing most of this stuff. She now works just as hard, maybe even more than me, and she doesn't allow me to do certain things, much to my annoyance. We will continue going to a counselor for a little bit longer, and she's still going to her individual therapy. While I liked being alone, I truly missed her. I missed her hair, her smile, her eyes, and now I find myself looking at her and paying attention to everything she does. I guess separation made us appreciate each other way more than before. Maybe we took each other for granted, and we didn't value each other until we split. I think we fell in love again. I can't describe it, but each hug, each touch feels different, like it radiates with sincerity and love. As for the future, I'm planning a trip in secret as a surprise, so we can go out of town for a few days, just the two of us. Time alone really helps me relax and not worry about unimportant things. I focused on myself and what I want my marriage to be and my life. So now I'm going to work towards that. We really learned to communicate much better than before. We became much more open towards each other, more vulnerable. I think it will help us going forward. I guess, after all, it turns out that I'm not so easily replaceable. Happy to hear you guys are able to work things out. It was a tough tunnel to go through, but the relationship seems to have gotten stronger on the other side, and that's awesome. It was a blessing in disguise. We are still working on it, and we will continue to do so. Things are way better than they used to be. There are still some differences and things we need to work on, or at least find a middle ground, which will probably be resolved in future counseling sessions. I just hope she realizes how close she came to losing you multiple times in a very short time. I hope she understands this could have had a much worse ending. Good on you for being willing to put in the work and growing yourself. Best wishes going forward. Sounds like you're happier single. I'm not really clear why you went back to your wife. At any rate, good luck. Wish you the best. Indeed I was, for a time, then I felt something was missing. People sometimes say things they don't mean in the heat of the moment. She did it too. I think it was fair to both of us. Some time apart from each other really helped us figure out what each of us wants and what we mean to each other. Life is better when you get to share it with somebody. Last story. Am I the a-hole for my reaction after finding out my ex cheated on me? So I have been with my ex Lara for 6 years, and we were living together since 3. Our relationship was amazing, at least in my point of view. We were deeply in love, romantic to each other, had arguments even heated, but we always solved everything by talking to each other. So for real, no problems until 2 weeks ago. Recently, I noticed a few things that were off. Like Lara being overprotective with her phone, going in another room while talking with people. But since it all started 4 months ago, I didn't pay too much attention because she always said that she was preparing a surprise for a best friend, so I didn't insist. Long story short, I caught her cheating at my house 2 weeks ago while I came back from work because I forgot my phone. My reaction wasn't being mad, screaming, shouting, or any of these things, but I just told the guy to put some clothes on and leave, and to Lara that we were over and wanted to break up immediately. I said all of this calmly without raising my voice or screaming. Lara was the one screaming, crying, and begging me to forgive her, but I just kept saying to pack her stuff and leave my house. So after 2 hours of this pathetic show, she left. That day I went to work, later obviously, but it wasn't the worst day of my life. It was just a bad day like others. 2 days ago, I went on a date with another girl and I hope to a second date. We are planning, so hopes are very high, haha. My friends and family told me that my reaction was strange because they expected more from me. Because I just moved on fast from Lara's cheating like I didn't care at all about her, stating my calm and cold reaction. I have a very particular point of view on cheaters, and maybe that's why. In my particular case, the screaming, shouting, crying, getting angry, and mad to me weren't useful at all. Because they don't bring me anything of good, nor will they relieve my pain and suffering, so I do something that doesn't bring me anything of good. I mean, she cheated by her choice, we broke up and that's all. Why should I cry, get mad, or angry because Lara cheated on me? She's just a loser, and took the consequences of her actions. And to me, that's all. Obviously, in these 2 weeks, Lara's talked to me on social media and texted me and called me like 100 times, but I don't care. I never blocked her and probably would never do because, like I said, it didn't bring me anything of good or bad. I'm just indifferent to it. And a bit because I like to see people humiliating themselves. Lol. So all of this being said, am I the a-hole? Not the a-hole. The opposite of love isn't hate. It's indifference. You were handling it like a man's man. The way you reacted probably hurt her more than anything else. Not the a-hole, but I wouldn't assume that you really cared about the relationship if it hasn't really affected you. You caught your girlfriend with another man in your house and went to work like nothing happened. You could absolutely get mad and cry because you loved this person that you put trust in and spent years with and were betrayed. That would bring out rage and ugly cries in most, if not all, people. And yes, crying and getting your feelings out can absolutely help you feel better. Not sure how to explain this, but all of that is the reaction those pathetic people who cheat are looking for. It's not all men, but a good segment of us just gets indifferent. The feeling we had, that fire and desire for you, got snuffed out the moment we figured it out. Call it cold or whatever, but some guys do just function this way. I had one ex when I was in my teens. It was the whole F you screaming match. Another ex, it was this. I just shrugged it off, told them to GTFO and never talked to them again. Did it suck? Sure. But I can't put the toothpaste back in the tube. I can only control me and my actions. Not the a-hole. You handled it like a mature adult. I don't understand why people make a big show of it and go off the deep end. There's always someone else out there. They may or may not treat you better, but it is certainly not the end of the world. Because people put a lot of work and planning into life with a partner, and this thing most humans have called emotions. I'm not sure what you are on about, but the practical application is that people struggle with made-up concepts like true love, fate, destiny, etc., and can't remove themselves from this and think objectively. And when someone cheats, all of that fantasy is quashed. The facade of love is gone. Move on. The most ridiculous thing is engaging in a physical battle with a man that is cheating with your girlfriend or wife. The man didn't have some magical power or aura that tricked someone into cheating. It was a decision by your partner to engage. They could have rebuffed the advances. Why lose sleep over someone like this? The future is brighter. People have a fear of the unknown. If you move to a new city, you will find a partner. You will find another in your own city if you break up. Everyone is capable of finding love anywhere, anytime. The next relationship could be better or it could be worse. People have to get over the irrational fear and quit allowing themselves to be trapped in bad relationships. It's easier to stay and ignore real issues because of the perception of failure, fear, and other internal issues. The biggest hurdle and complication is children. If that is not a factor, then you should explore relationships until you are as happy as you feel you need to be.